So, bad news first. You'll be hearing for the next 30 minutes, be listening to two product managers. You know how product managers like to talk and talk and talk, so we hope it's not too boring. The good news is you won't hear too much from me. You'll be hearing more from my good friend Prasoon here. So Prasoon Paliwal is Global Informatics Product Manager at Roche, a very dear customer of OutSystems. And yeah, they have amazing use cases using GenAI on OutSystems that we'd love you to hear about. So what we'll do during the session today is cover the use cases they're doing at Roche with GenAI. Prasoon will do a demo, show you a demo of their product. And by the end of the talk, I'll come back here and I will tell you how you can also be successful with GenAI with the product capabilities we have to do GenAI-powered applications and build AI agents. Okay, sounds good?
Perfect.
Over to you, Prasoon.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming here. And as Nuno mentioned, so I'll be boring you for the next 20 minutes or maybe inspiring. So let's see what it is. So I'm here to be talking about Roche Chat, which is an AI companion application, and that's how we are trying to position this. What it does is, it's a very similar application that you would see what you have in ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, but this is developed with feedback and what is required for everyday user of Roche. So it's not something that we are taking a lot of inspiration from these solutions, but the focus is how do we solve problems or use cases and how do we familiarize people within Roche to use and start leveraging generative AI, because everyone accepts, I don't think there is any exception, that this technology is here to stay. So with that, let's talk more about Roche Chat. Good. So how did we come up with the idea of Roche Chat? So I think we have our lead developer, Christophe Neve, who came up with this idea that why don't we build an application on OutSystems that is used by everyone at Roche. So that was the idea, and then he took that up, he ran with it. Within 2 weeks, he was able to bring up a prototype, which I think he showed it to everyone, and everyone loved it instantaneously. And then from there on, what was the magic thing was we were able to roll it out within the first 3 months. We were able to roll it out. And if you would see, we offered this in November 2023, which is almost 11 months back. Back then, we didn't have so many solutions at an enterprise level to offer this offering. There was ChatGPT, obviously, that changed everything, but there were no good enterprise offerings. And we wanted to provide a secure yet safe environment where people can experiment and leverage this technology. And this is where the idea came in. If you see the first 2 weeks that we launched this application, we already had 10,000 people register for it. Roche is a big organization, but still these numbers are something that are still a little unheard of or very uncommon. Now that we are here almost 11 months into our journey, we have 45,000 people. This is something that I checked starting of this month, but I think now the number is closer to 48, 49,000. And this is because we are delivering at such a short frequency. Every 2 weeks that we are trying to make releases, and that attracts new people. Some people don't see the functionality, and then within the 2 weeks, they see that this functionality they were requesting are already there. So it's completely developed based on the feedback that the people are providing. We do have 23,000 unique monthly active users, so people are coming back again. It's not like one time they registered, they forget about it. On a daily basis, we see roughly between 5,000 to closer to 6,000 people who are coming in. Again, these are unique numbers. So far, we had 3 million interactions with Roche Chat and the Roche employees, so that's a huge number that we are very proud of. But the stat that I'm really, really proud about is this 8,000 people that we have trained within Roche using Roche Chat on generative AI. And these trainings have been from the very beginners who had never heard about what generative AI was, all the way to the very experienced people like data scientists on how they can leverage Gen AI in their daily work. And then we have a very strong community of 3,000 members in a chat space that we have created, and people are explaining about how they are using Roche Chat, they are inspiring others, they are sharing knowledge, and it's very interesting to see how these self-formed teams are coming up. Architecture, let me just talk very briefly about it. No point in guessing. We obviously are using OutSystem as the front end or the orchestration layer for that. But behind the scene, we have developed OutSystem application in such a way, we have broken down these applications into smaller applications so that it provides modularization, and we are able to connect with multiple cloud providers when it comes to the backend connectivity. So right now we are only connecting to Azure, but we do have plans on connecting with AWS so that we have more LLM models. And we are also planning to connect with Google for that. Why did we use OutSystem other than the fact that Chris convinced us? There were quite a bit of reasons for that. Security was one, so we do have a very good platform set up at Roche for OutSystems. And this is where I think for us as a team developing over and above that, it was very easy, and then we do have to keep some consideration, but most of the things were taken care by the implementation at Roche already. Support for scalability is something that we are really appreciative. We had to put in a lot of thought, but again, most of the things were taken care by the platform team. We did have a lot of connectors. We do use Forge component, which makes it so much easier to develop the application. We do have people like Chris and the other members, so we have a strong community of citizen developers at Roche for OutSystems. We were able to rapidly prototype, experiment the idea, throw things that we don't like, move things to production. We have a lot of ideas. That's not a problem that we have, so it's very good to be able to rapidly prototype. We are saving tons of cost by developing this internally, but at the same point of time, we are also developing internal talent in this area. Now with that, enough talks, let me show you. I have a pre-recorded video, which I would want to demo, and I'll talk over it. So let's start with that. So if you see, most of the things here in Roche Chat that we have developed is what we would want people to interact with. And this is where we are explaining people what are the capability, but more importantly, explaining people what can be the limitations of the system that they need to be aware of. So if you see, this is how the UI looks like. It's welcoming me. The interface, we have tried keeping it very simple so that people can jump directly right in. They don't need a lot of training. They learn and experiment. But we are trying to create some guardrails. So for example, if you see the image, uploading of the image that I'm showing right now here, so if you see, we also provide some instruction on what to input and what to avoid. So that's something that we are able to do so that people are aware. Same things with the documents that we allow. We explain people what they should be doing and what not. This is very important. We have not developed it for just the very basic user. We want experienced users to be using it, and this is where the custom or the advanced setting comes in handy. So people can change it, experiment with it, learn it, and a lot of people find it very simple for easy experimentation. As I said, we have GPT models right now. We will have more in the future, so that's something that we are very nice. We have that. Then we provide some very basic capability like where pick up the conversation where you left off. Now, let me jump into the topics of what we developed at Roche, which was not available, let's say, outside, or which is very tailored. We came up with an idea of prompt library. Everyone started using it, but how do you use it effectively? How do I use it in my daily work? So this is where the idea of prompt comes in. You're able to add the prompt, and it's completely community driven. So people, if they like a particular prompt in their daily life, they are able to add it here. And then what they can do is, obviously, if they are looking for inspiration or finding it, they are able to look at it. They are able to filter it depending on whether you yourself submitted it or someone else submitted it. There are a lot of categories that we have created, personas that we have based it on. So all of that is already there. So I mean, people can filter it out and see what is relevant for them. Right now it's 81 because again, it's something that we recently launched. Let's look at something based on the votes. So they can sort it. Let's take it, the ones that are most voted. Again, a very simple use case that we hear is about the meeting agenda. Writing test cases is a cool one. Writing an email, a lot of people use it for writing their emails, cleanup. And I really like the one that is solve conflict within the team. So I think that's a very strong one. Creating documentation, from a document creating a presentation. Let's pick up one and show you how this works. So you picked it up, you saw how many people like it, you read the description, you like the prompt, you go ahead and you see what is the prompt and how can you change it. So if you see someone has published it, but they have said that, put in your user story here, and this is about writing a test case from a user story. So this is very good. I use it a lot. So if I just basically say start chat, what I get is basically it directly takes me to the application, and here I can make changes. So for example, here I would put in my user story. So for example, the user story that I want to put in here is how do I allow user login based on other accounts, for example, Facebook or whatever, right? I mean, obviously, I'm not going to implement it in Roche chat, but this is, let's say, a requirement for other people for external facing application. I could lower the temperature because I would want the answer to be a little bit more precise. I don't want the LLM to be creative here. I want it to stick to the facts. And yes, as you go here, it takes time, but then that's the real recorded video. So it does take a few seconds to prepare something for you. So if you see, it will give you back all the things on what are the test cases that you would want. Now you like it, you could copy it individually, and then you can start testing it. But what if you don't like how many test cases were provided, or you would want to expand upon a particular type of test cases that it provided to you? So you can obviously prompt it again and say, I would like you to provide me more test cases around performance testing, because that's something that is important for me. So if you see, that's what you would prompt. Voila, you get the result. You could copy this back to your table, and that's one way on how we are inspiring people to start using it. Good, and okay. And now what we will do is another thing that we have created, what we call as prompt generator. And this is something that came up as an idea because I was talking to a lot of colleagues, and then they came back with an idea. Do you really think I'm at 60 years old, am I going to learn how to prompt now? And this is where we had an idea, like, why don't we provide something where we give very simple instruction? We have been seeing these templates. Why don't we provide a small utility for people to just put in? For example, here you see, I'm asking to create a survey or a questionnaire for checking the effectiveness of how they are finding Roche chat, for example. So this is what I would do. I would provide it a task, some context. I will like to provide a persona. So this is a UX researcher who is querying it. I would like to keep the tone casual because, again, we don't want to scare people off. We want them to be a little bit more doing that. Yes, okay. And then if you see, we click that, and behind the scene, LLM creates the prompt. If I'm not happy, I can obviously change things as well. If I didn't like it, I could have regenerated as well, but this looks good, so I'll go ahead. Same thing, I'll start the chat. And then here, as you could see, this is here again, and then I can obviously initiate the chat. Now, a lot of the people would be thinking that, this is still a lot of clicks. So what we are doing next, and I think in 2 weeks' time, we will already roll it out, the prompt library and prompt generator, both will be directly in the prompt itself. So people can just directly from the prompt box itself be able to get all of this. So they won't have to switch between screens. So if you see, it was able to create all of that. I didn't like it. I wanted to have it in a table structure. I forgot that. So I could very quickly edit it, ask it to provide it in a tabular format, and that's what it will do. I'm able to get that. It just takes a second. I'm liking how it is not AI generated, so that's why it takes the real time that it takes. Good. So you could copy it as a table. That's what you could do. Another thing that I would want to talk about, and that's the last thing that we will talk about, this is again something that we have developed based on our feedback that we got. So we have this chatting with the PDF concept. So this is a PDF. I just took a PDF that talks about how to leverage generative AI in healthcare and how it is transforming it. So that's the PDF. What I do here is I'm able to upload this PDF, and we allow people to upload, let's say, up to 10 PDF, and then have an interaction with it. And this is completely based on the RAG-based architecture. So we use Azure AI search behind the scene. If you were to see here, I can click that. We do provide this capability of summarize. This is again one of the most asked feature. We allow the users to select short, list, full text. depending on what they want, they are able to select the summarization. And if you would see that it does take some time to actually summarize, but this has been really helpful for a lot of people because they wanted to summarize much larger documents. And we allow larger documents up to 500 pages as well that it can summarize. So that has been really helpful for a lot of people. Now, if I like something here and I would want to expand upon it, and I would want to say, talk to me about, let's say, the clinical part of this. What I could do is elaborate about the clinical trial. It will go back, as per the RAG, it will pull in the right context and then generate more information or content around clinical trial itself from this. Now, if I was not trusting AI, what I would think of is, okay, this is all good, but how do I trust this? And this is where we are providing the sources as well on how and what text was considered to generate this particular content. And this is something that enhances the explainability which is currently missing in AI. So this is something that people have been really appreciative of. With that, I think I can move on to the next one very quickly. Good. Now, that comes, now that's with the Roche chat part. Now, I think I don't need to convince. I think you guys have heard a lot about agents already, so I'll try to quickly go past this. But very high level, an agent, by definition, is an autonomous unit programmed to do a particular task, make decisions, or communicate with other agents itself. That's what it is. If you were to think of it in a layman terminology, I would suggest thinking of it like a very cool team member who is skilled in a particular task. It could be doing research, it could be developing things, it could be testing things, it could be, let's say, talking to a customer. So any of this could be an agent. It's exactly what you would want. Now, agent is not something that I would say is something that you would not consider it effectively. It's something that is there to stay. A lot of people on almost all the industries are putting a lot of effort into it. So I think it's only the matter of fact and how quickly can we adapt and embrace this. So if you see, the technology leaders are already raving about it. Some people are even going to the extent in saying, this is the way that we will interact with machines or computers in the future. And I do believe in that. Great. I have been talking about it. What are we doing about it? So this is where we are thinking of Roche chat agents. What Roche chat agents is, we already have created and we have the attention of these 49,000 people at Roche. The next step to that is we have gotten so many requests. Prasoon, we want to have a custom version of Roche chat, but for our team or but for our requirements. And this is where Roche chat agents comes in. What it is able to provide is you could be able to add extra knowledge, the source of truth, as a lot of people say. You don't want corrupted data, so you want to have a curated data to be the single source of truth. The part that I was talking about, explainability, helps here. Instruction is the most powerful piece in all of this. So you see that you need to define very clearly what your agent needs to do. The more explicit and clear you are, the better results that you will get from your agent. If you like one line prompt and say that my agent is not working, it's the problem not with the agents, it's something that you have not primed it for. Tools, again, are very, very effective because, again, that opens up the world of other systems interaction. And these tool calls can be internet search. It could be as simple as collecting the data from another system. So all of that is basically part of tools. It could be an API. It could be a custom function that you have written in Python, JavaScript, or whatever, and you are just giving the capability or extra capability. So this is where you say you're giving it the superpowers that it needs. Whether it can fly, whether it can be like whatever it wants to do, this is what you do. Logical reasoning is nothing but your GPTs. How are we evolving Roche chat is very important. We are taking one step at a time. We are not rushing towards the end. We know what the end is, but I think we are trying to take one step at a time. We had Roche chat. We are now developing Roche Chat agents, which are again specific agents that we are creating per use case. Where we are trying to go with that is, how do we make all of these agents that we have developed at Roche? First of all, we need a place where people can find all of this. Second, how do they connect all of these agents together to meaningfully complete not just one task, but a business flow? And that's where we are trying to go with that. The architecture or a high-level thing for that will be, these are the common concepts that you will need. You will need the orchestration layer. You would need the agent marketplace, which I don't think I've called it out here, but I think that's something that is a given. You have all of these components, and in tools, if you were to see, there is API integration, function, databases, and other agents. Having said that, let me hand over to Nuno to talk more about how, you have that, okay. How is he and his team?
Yeah, thank you, Prasoon. Big round of applause for Prasoon, please. Fantastic, fantastic, really. Most people are still getting started with AI, right, in Gen AI. Roche, Prasoon's team, they have an app that's used by 5,000 people every day to accelerate their work. So they're really getting much more productive all across the company. Roche is a huge company because of the work they did, so really, congrats. Okay, so my job, where do I fit in here? I'm a product manager at OutSystems. My area where I work is helping customers, all of you, build this type of applications and be as successful as Roche with OutSystems, right? So as you've heard, Prasoon and Roche built all of this on OutSystems. Our job is, how can we build the right product capabilities and accelerators so that everyone can be as successful as them? When you look at what you need to build a successful Gen AI app, I really like to refer to this chart, this diagram from Gartner, which they call the technology stack layers for Gen AI. So at the bottom of this technology stack, you have the infrastructure. That will be the GPUs and the servers that you need to do the computation, right? You might have this in-house. Most likely you get this from one of the providers, probably a model provider. So that's the next layer on the technology stack, are the models, the large language models, the things that make this magic happen, okay? But I'm really more interested, and you might already imagine that OutSystems is more working and building product capabilities towards the top of the technology stack. So that will be engineering tools and applications. So that's exactly where we're building product capabilities and helping all of you build Gen AI apps and transform your business, is by helping you build the type of applications like Roche Chat, any other type of application that uses Gen AI to transform the way you work, the way your teams work, and accelerate the way you deliver value to your end customers or deliver value to your business, sorry. So that's about that. Yeah, that's the tools we built. And in that sense, in that direction, one very important part of our product portfolio with Mentor is AI Agent Builder. So as the name implies, AI Agent Builder is a tool that helps you build AI agents easily. So any of you can go on OutSystems today and build something like what Prasoon showed, okay? You have to be as smart as them, of course. There's also another way, which is we have accelerators within our product that help you get there faster, okay? So that's what OutSystems has been doing all over these 20-something years in our history, is give you accelerators to reach value faster, so that you change your business faster, and also in a governed way, so that you not only build one POC, that you have a proof of concept with Gen AI, but that you really scale Gen AI adoption across your organization. That's where AI Agent Builder comes in. It's a tool that helps you do this. Adopt Gen AI fast in a scalable and governed way. So it works in this way. You select a model, and it's model agnostic, so you can we have native integrations with models from Azure OpenAI, AWS Bedrock, but you can also bring any model that works via API, via REST API to connect to AI Agent Builder. You then give it some instructions, the prompt, and you select data. So you can use application data. You can use data that you bring from other sources as well, that you connect from a search service or via API. And in the end, all of this composes an agent. So there's a back and forth trial and error. You have to get the right instructions, get the right data. And once you save the agent, as you might have seen in the keynote earlier, then this agent has a task, a purpose, and it has all it needs to fulfill that task. So we really want to use AI Agent Builder as a tool that will help all of you build applications, Gen AI applications, in a simple way, so get to value very, very quickly. Build it in a secure and responsible way, okay? Which is one of the main tenets on using Gen AI is responsibility and using it in a secure way, of course, as well. Make it scalable. That's why it's integrated in our cloud-native platform, ODC. And also, by having models inside, on AI Agent Builder, you configure your models so they're reusable. You configure agents and they're reusable. So this goes back to this composable architecture that we talked about earlier, right? A model, agents, are new pieces in the business landscape, let's say, in the IT landscape. And OutSystems is making them explicit in our platform so that all of you can now reuse, have all the NFRs around models and agents, and they're just another part of your application layer that in the end will surface value for the business. And of course, make it transformative. So very, very quickly here, a brief overview of the technical capabilities. So I already mentioned the integration of Gen AI models. We have monitoring on AI Agent Builder as well, so you can monitor your agents, see how many tokens you're consuming, so that you keep tabs on costs. We have pre-built applications as well to get you started quickly, including an application that can be used in a similar way to Roche Chat to accelerate internal productivity in organizations, applications that do summarization, for example, or other types of tasks with Gen AI. We have templates as well for that, integration with multiple knowledge sources, and of course, tight integration with OutSystems applications. So it's really like almost a one-click thing to integrate an agent in an application. Some examples, going back to the use cases, you heard a lot about the use cases at Roche. There's other Gen AI use cases that people in our customer base and our partners have been building with AI Agent Builder and OutSystems. That includes, for example, call center optimization, which is a very clear target for use cases on Gen AI, is everything around customer support, for example. Translations, revenue intelligence, very important, getting your sales teams and your field teams the data in the right time so they can ask questions in natural language and get insights at the right time very quickly. Q&A over data enables a new type of experience where you can have, again, either internal teams or, for example, customer service representatives or field service representatives access data from your knowledge bases and ask questions about company policies, ask questions about where a certain piece of the inventory is, what's the status of a certain order, for example, and have AI find that in your system and the agent gives you the answer. Virtual assistants such as Roche Chat. Of course, everything around employee experience. All the apps around human resources are also very clear use cases for Gen AI. If you want to hear more about this, we have in the middle of the hall over there, there's a product management section. There's one called Low Code AI, where we have more information about Mentor, and specifically, I'd love to talk about any Gen AI use case if you want to stop by. Yeah, so really the last slide here, and not to be too salesy, but I really believe the combination of our flagship app development platform, the power of low code, combined with a really quick integration of agents' capabilities and integration of Gen AI, is the right tool to be your perfect platform to build the digital transformation use cases. I've been in AI for 10 years now that I've worked in the industry. Before OutSystems, I worked in a lot of Gen AI use cases, not Gen AI use cases, right? We didn't have the term Gen AI before. And seeing the power of such a platform like OutSystems is really transformative, because every time you try to implement Gen AI, and you probably know this, a lot of the work can be on prompt instructions, but a lot of the work is probably going to be on the application itself. How do you transform the application, change the applications to use Gen AI, right? So suddenly people they use an application to answer queries from customers, for example, or they have a field service application. You want to integrate Gen AI right inside that application, right? And the power of the OutSystems platform to change those applications, the agility our platform can bring, can be really transformative, I believe, to really help all of you and help our customers transform the way you work with Gen AI and make it the perfect platform for that. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. And again, if you want to talk more on Gen AI, please reach out. I'll be around here or over there at the Gen AI booth. Thank you.